But remember, at the end of the day, if the kid is found guilty, and who knows, there's a chance that the insanity defense or some level of insanity, I'm not familiar what it is exactly I think it's the state of California, if those laws apply over there. The results of that, it's up to the judge as well, and possibly the jury, what kind of punishment he should have if he is found guilty of a particular offense. There'll be several counts against him, and eventually, down the line, there may be a deal between the defense and the prosecution. I don't think they're going to put this guy to death. I don't think an addict who's on drugs should be put to death. I don't see it, because they don't know what they're doing. They didn't do it for a kick. It's not the same as a terrorist. Is it really the same as a terrorist? Even terrorists aren't put to death after trials in many, many places in the world, including the US. They get life sentences, but in this particular case, jail for this kid for the next 45 years does what? Who are you protecting? I'm not suggesting he go on the street. Clearly, he can't walk the streets in the near future, 5, 10, 20 years. And it's not a question of he'll be let out sometime into some halfway house 35 years from now when some fancy lawyer figures a way out. They should do everything possible, whether it takes 1, 10, or 20 years, to rehabilitate this guy to the extent that it's possible. It may be virtually impossible because the parents did throw a lot of money and attention at this kid, even though the parents had a very, very busy socialite life, professional life. They loved this kid and they did everything possible for this kid. It didn't work. It didn't work not because they didn't do everything possible, because there likely is some sort of mental defect, and mental defect people don't deserve to sit in jail for the rest of their life. They should be institutionalized, not in the institutions that you and I are thinking about, but places where the kid gets a chance of making himself cured is not the right word, but giving himself a better life. At the end of the day, we should not sit in judgment on this kid, nor should the jury, even though I understand it's a jury trial, and that's the system they live in the States and here in Canada. But I would think that the will of the parents, and we know what the parents would want in this particular case, we know exactly what they would want, is to do exactly what they tried to do, which is get a better life for this kid. It doesn't make sense to put this guy in jail, whether it's solitary confinement, etc. Mental institution, to a degree, you have to put him somewhere. It has to have safety. It has to have a chance of rehabilitation. I can just hear the people out there, the know-it-alls and the doctors and the scientists saying, there's no chance of rehab. Okay, so what do? You put him in jail for the rest of his life? You shoot him? You hang him? Is that what we're made out of in this situation? I would suggest, and I hope the defense does that, is bring in people that have kids like that and ask them what they think Rob Reiner and his wife would want at this stage. I think that's as important as what a jury is going to do. What does this show? It clearly shows that doctors, hospitals, medications, all sorts of treatments can't save kids like that they did everything for this guy. They spent millions of dollars, the parents. I would suggest to you the following. If you had the parents in court, if they weren't murdered, if they were virtually almost killed, but they walk into court on a wheelchair and they say, I don't want my kid to go to jail. He doesn't know what he did. Shouldn't that count? Of course, the mental illness is clear on the face of it. You'll bring in the most expensive doctors on both sides, etc. It's clear on the face of it. So as a society, this is what we have to ask. Ask, if I were the defense lawyer, I would bring in a few parents who have kids like that they do everything possible for, and that they cannot control. They may not commit murder against the particular parents or relatives, whatever it is. But ask them what they would do. The last thing they would say is give him a life sentence in jail. Some of the biggest brains around are stating this is an open and shut case. Now, this isn't your classic mental illness case. The question is, what do you do with this particular individual at this stage? He's not 15 years old or 18 years old or 20. I think he's around 30 or something like this, or 28, whatever it is, 35. Whatever the case is in terms of his age, I think it is totally ridiculous how society judges this kid and what should happen to him just after he murders his parents, who tried to do everything possible to save this kid's life and give him a normal life. What does this show?